All right, let's go with our 2020 NFL mock draft update. Now, this draft is a little bit different. Instead of me just going out there and thinking, hey, this team needs this, here's the prospect that matches, so on and so forth, I decided to go to what I think is the best source of information, team information out there, Reddit. I did a Reddit community mock draft where I basically facilitated and I put every single team on the clock and I let the boards make the pick. Sometimes the pick was pretty easy to make and pretty easy to distinguish. Sometimes there was a lot of debate, and we get 50 to 100 votes, and one vote would be separating one player for another. So what I did is I basically facilitated the draft. I organized the picks. I did all that stuff, and then I broke the tie if there was a tie. So in order, again, if you have a problem with this pick, blame your own fans because I didn't put them together. But this is the community mock draft, and I like how it turned out. So let's go. We'll start with number 1, the Cincinnati Bengals. No surprise, Joe Burrow from LSU. No comment there. I mean, I think we can keep it moving. Number 2, the Washington Redskins still at this point take edge rusher Chase Young from Ohio State. Now, a lot of people lately have been saying they're going to draft Tua. Do I agree with that? Do I disagree with that? I could see them going either way. I still think that this defensive-led coaching staff will go with a once-in-a-decade talent in Chase Young, but we'll see what happens. And we'll be issuing an update from there. Number 3, the Detroit Lions, Jeff Okudah from Alabama, cornerback. Number 4, the New York Giants. Now, let me give you a little caveat here. They took linebacker Isaiah Simmons from Clemson. Now, the caveat you ask is the New York Giants board is so exclusive. They could not suffer a comment or a question from little old me. I said, please, New York Giants fans, tell me who you like in the draft. And the board said, no, you do not have the right to post here. They're very exclusive. It's like the worst nightclub in the world. If you don't have 10 women behind you, you're not getting in. But the New York Giants, I did read through a lot of the posts. It seems like the consensus that I could find was Isaiah Simmons. I think he's a good fit for that team. The board is very happy with the defensive line help. I liked Derek Brown there because I think he's an impact maker, and you can never have too many people clogging up the middle. But they like Isaiah Simmons, and I'm not going to argue. Number 5, the Miami Dolphins, sitting there, could not pass up quarterback Tua Tagovailoa, right? Alabama. I saw it and I freaked out. I thought I was going to mispronounce Tua's last name, which I'm not gonna roll the dice on a second attempt there. But no, Alabama. I think that Miami would be better served trading down, accumulating pick. They have a lot of needs. Chan Gailey, the last 4 years he's coached an offense or head coached a team. Ryan Fitzpatrick, was his quarterback. He's comfortable going into battle with Ryan Fitzpatrick. I think that Miami, by the way, if they do draft Tua, I don't think it's a bad pick at all. In fact, I think it's a very good pick, especially in light of them having 2 more first-round picks. I don't know that it's the pick I'd make. Maybe I'd trade down and hope that I could still get Love a little bit later. But, to each their own. The Dolphins loved the pick, and we'll move forward with that. The L.A. Chargers, I thought they might take the quarterback. They didn't. They ended up taking offensive tackle Jedrick Wilkes out of I said Wilkes. I meant Wills out of Alabama. Again, buyer beware, beauty's in the eye of the beholder, whatever you want to say. They could go out and they could sign somebody like Bridgewater. They could still, in theory, bring Rivers back or something like that, but they did not go with the quarterback, and so it is. Number 7, the Carolina Panthers select defensive tackle Derek Brown, Auburn. I think he was clearly the best player on the board at this point. I think it's a fantastic pick. They could use some other weapons elsewhere, but they actually have a lot of weapons at the skill positions. I think Curtis Samuel's a little bit underrated. Certainly they have DJ Moore and Christian McCaffrey, of course. The big question is what's going to happen at quarterback. I think Cam's going to be back there. We'll see. Number 8, the pick there is Arizona Cardinals take. Now, I think, let me say this, with the big news that DeAndre Hopkins is now in the Cardinals, I'm sure this board will gladly trade this pick the next time I implement this draft philosophy here. But they take CeeDee Lamb out of Oklahoma. Again, this is before the DeAndre Hopkins news. I'm sure that will change. I think that they should have gone offensive line at this point. But again, the board wins. I do not inject my bias onto these picks. The Cardinals take a wide receiver there, but the next time we do this version, I'm sure they're going to move forward with somebody else. Number 9, the Jacksonville Jaguars take defensive tackle Javon Kinlaw out of South Carolina, beefing up that defensive line. Can't really argue with that. I think the offense is interesting. They have a nice lot of skill players. I do think that they will add maybe a pass catching specialist to pair with Leonard Fournette. Remember, Jay Gruden's coming in there to coach the offense, but you can get one of those in free agency or later in the draft. So I think defense is a nice place to go for Jacksonville. Number 10, the Cleveland Browns, offensive tackle, Tristan Wirfs out of Iowa. I think that's great. This offensive line is the Achilles heel of the offense. Stefanski's going to want to inject, the run game, and they're going to need offensive, tackle, basically offensive line throughout, tougher run blocking, and that's only going to help Baker Mayfield and this offense get back on track in 2020. The New York Jets, a very sneaky team, finished 7-9 last season, went on a very big run. Sam Darnold, when he was in the lineup, not out with the kissing disease mono, he was 7-6 as a quarterback last year. Very easy to forget if you don't follow the Jets closely. I was surprised when I was digging into the numbers, and I came across that as well. But they're not a bad team, everybody. They're not as bad as advertised. Once again, they finished the season on a pretty nice run. Anyway, I have the New York Jets, or I should say the New York Jets board takes offensive tackle Andrew Thomas, and they were very happy, by the way, to take Andrew Thomas this season out of Georgia. Now, the number 12, hard for me to remember to say this every time, the Las Vegas Raiders. Who do they take? I actually love this pick for them. The board took Jerry Jeudy out of Alabama, and there was some discussion about Ray or Ruggs and who to take, but they were all kind of on the board. They also liked cornerback as well, but they ended up going with the talented wide receiver out of Alabama, and there you go. Number 13, the Indianapolis Colts. I found this very interesting. Once they saw that Herbert dropped to them at number 13, they went with Herbert. Now, I believe the Colts made this pick at the very beginning of the combine. It looks like Love is ascending the board at quarterback, so maybe that pick would change if we ran this again. But again, once the Colts started seeing some of these quarterbacks slide, they started taking him. Let me pause here and say that I did not facilitate trades. A lot of teams were saying, "No, trade back, trade back, trade back." Not many teams were saying trade up. There was only one team, and I probably had about 10 teams like, "Oh, trade back." So I'm going to facilitate trades in the next version that I do with this. I'm going to use the Jimmy Johnson trade tool. We'll see. But I think Indianapolis, by the way, if they stay at this pick, it's a decent pick. But really, I could see another team jumping up and trying to take one of these quarterbacks at that spot. This would be a prime trade down position for the Colts if that option is available to them. Number 14, the Tampa Bay Bucs. The offensive lineman freak, Becton out of Louisville. Everybody's talking about his measurables. Is he going to be that good on the field? I don't know, but the Tampa Bay Bucs fans and the Reddit board was very happy to take him. Number 15, the Denver Broncos. They're taking wide receiver Henry Ruggs III out of Alabama. I like this pick, particularly because Denver has traded away basically their primary wide receiver every year. Now this year is going to be Cortland Sutton. Is he going to be traded? No. He's not going to be traded. He'll be there. But adding another piece into the system, Pat Shurmur's taking over the offensive play calling. Sutton needs some support on the other side of the ball. I think that Philip Lindsay and Royce Freeman are going to be very dynamic. I think Noah Fant is going to take a step forward. Give Drew Lock that other receiver, that other side of the ball, and then let Fant work the middle of the field, and let basically Freeman and Lindsey, when they're in the game, work the flats. It's going to be very good offense. And I mentioned with the Jets before, people don't realize this, but Denver actually kind of ascended the ladder as well. Finished, I believe, 7-9 as well. They were pretty bad to start the year, but they had a lot of defensive injuries. This defense is going to be better. This offense is going to be better. Watch out. They're going to be a sneaky team next year. If we go to 7 playoff seeds, they could very easily snag one of those wild card seeds. Number 16, the Atlanta Falcons board selects defensive end AJ Epinesa out of Iowa. Number 17, the Dallas Cowboys select Grant Delpit out of LSU. That was the best player available. There was some debate on who to pick there, but again, best player available, no trade option, so we'll go. Now, I don't know. Do you pick at this point Jordan Love? Do you take him at this point, or do you move forward with Dak Prescott, who's going to be on the exclusive rights tag? I don't know. I feel like Dallas needs to make this decision quickly for Dak Prescott. This could be a really nice position for Dallas to land the quarterback of the future for Mike McCarthy. It behooves them to make this decision now. Number 18, Miami Dolphins, their second of the 3 first-round picks. This one from Pittsburgh after the Minkah Fitzpatrick trade in the middle of the year. They take edge rusher Cleveland Chason out of LSU. Number 19, you have the Las Vegas Raiders from the Chicago Bears. Yes, I believe we're still seeing this Khalil Mack trade fallout, but this is a pick from the Bears. They take cornerback Christian Fulton, LSU, which I love the Raiders draft at this point. You get a wide receiver, you get a cornerback, two biggest needs for them, two very talented players on the board. They didn't reach for either one of these two players. I like it quite a bit. Number 20, Jacksonville Jaguars, their second first-round pick. This one acquired from the LA Rams after the Jalen Ramsey trade midseason. Linebacker Kenneth Murray, Oklahoma. Number 21, the Philadelphia Eagles, wide receiver Justin Jefferson out of LSU. There was some debate on whether or not to go with T. Higgins. Those two players were neck and neck, trading pole position all the way. But when eventually I just had to call it to keep this thing moving. They take Justin Jefferson. Number 22, the Buffalo Bills take Yetur Gross-Matos out of Penn State. This was another basically one that went back and forth. They were also going back and forth between T. Higgins and Gross-Matos. The board finally decided on Gross-Matos and leaving T. Higgins for later in the draft. Number 23, the New England Patriots. The board very convincingly took Xavier McKinney, safety, Alabama, best player available. There were some other options out there. I actually liked, was it Cesar Ruiz, the offensive, the kind of the do-it-all interior offensive lineman. I thought he would have been a nice pick. But, when you have a guy like McKinney still on the board, the Patriots board saw it. They know this team. They know how this team drafts. It's always best player available. Adding more talent into the secondary, especially kind of top-end talent, somebody who had slipped. That's why the Patriots have been so successful for the last 20 years, for crying out loud. Number 25, the Minnesota Vikings. Across the board, they wanted best offensive lineman available. Now, the one that won out, and I should say barely won out, was Josh Jones, offensive tackle from Houston. There was a lot of support for Austin Jackson out of USC. There was a lot of support for a couple other offensive linemen. But again, Josh Jones is the pick for the Minnesota Vikings and their board. But that is a split decision. But again, everybody wanted offensive line there, or I should say the vast majority. Number 26, the Miami Dolphins, their third of three first-round picks. This one from Houston after that Laramie Tunsil and Kenny Stills trade before last season. Offensive tackle Austin Jackson out of USC. So he is the next pick. Minnesota is going to have the pick of the litter, and then Miami, so the boards say, the Reddit boards say, will take the other one. The Seattle Seahawks, again, very exclusive. The Seattle Seahawks Reddit board, very, very exclusive. They cannot suffer a post from me just asking what they like in the draft. They will not let that post go. So I made the pick for them. They took C.J. Henderson out of UF. The reason I picked C.J. Henderson, there's a lot of, posts about a cornerback. The consensus is that he was ranked highest at cornerback at the time of the pick. I know there's going to be a lot of arguing there. So if you're a Seahawks fan, please, by all means, give me your input, and I'll try to include it because the Reddit community, they're so exclusive. They cannot possibly read something that I post. They're way too important for me. So why don't you go ahead and comment below. Tell me who you would pick here. Do you like the pick? Do you not like the pick? I will take you seriously. So let's see here. Number 28, the Baltimore Ravens. Very good team. Well, wouldn't you know it? The Baltimore Ravens, another team that has historically taken best player available. Interior linebacker, Patrick Queen slips to them from LSU. This board was very happy. They loved this pick. They loved the options that were available to them. And look, the Baltimore Ravens coming off a 14-2 season. You could argue, I would like to see the Ravens make another splash somehow, either free agency or draft or whatever, for another wide receiver, maybe a possession guy, so that Marquise Brown on the other side can just fly up the field. Marquise Brown was hurt for a lot of last year. He really kind of made an impact his first 2 weeks of the season and then kind of slowed down. I think that was more due to injury than anything else. I want to see this Baltimore Ravens offense get more vertical, but they can fix that either later in the draft, in this very deep wide receiver draft, or of course in free agency. So again, the Baltimore Ravens take linebacker Patrick Queen from LSU. The Tennessee Titans at 29. This was before Ryan Tannehill signed his extension. Okay, so let me give you that disclaimer here. This is recent news. I was keeping this draft going, but the Tennessee Titans selected quarterback Jordan Love out of Utah State. Now, here's the deal. The reality is, if Jordan Love is still sitting here, and I don't think he will, because I'm sure a team ahead of them will trade back. And again, I did not facilitate trades in this particular draft. However, if Jordan Love is still sitting there, I think, and the board was pretty unanimous about this as well, if you can trade down in this situation, they would trade down. I believe that Tennessee would absolutely trade down rather than take Jordan Love here. And I think that they would trade down rather than keep the pick and pick somebody else. So Jordan Love, I like the slot for him. I don't think he would slip out of the first round. Certainly not. And I think the argument would be that he's probably drafted ahead of Herbert at this point. But, of course, it's beauty in the eye of the beholder. But we'll see. Moving on, the Green Bay Packers, they had some debate about which wide receiver they liked, but all of them wanted a wide receiver, and it turned into Denzel Mims. Had a great combine. Denzel Mims, great player for Baylor, and could be a great player for the Green Bay Packers. I think that's a definite need. Take some pressure off Devontae Adams on the outside there. I like the move from the Packers board for the Green Bay Packers. Number 31, the San Francisco 49ers, Super Bowl runners-up, take cornerback Trevon Diggs out of Alabama, adding to a very good, basically, San Francisco 49ers pass defense to begin with. What do you take there? There was some talk about a wide receiver. I actually like Diggs a little bit more, though, and this was a very close vote. They almost went wide receiver as well. I like Diggs a little bit better anyway at cornerback. I'm glad he did win out, and I think it was like a one-vote advantage for Mr. Diggs there. Remember, Jalen Hurd is going to be back next year. I think even if the 49ers lose Emmanuel Sanders, and I think they probably will, but who knows? We'll see. I like Jalen Hurd coming back. He's a prototypical Shanahan system wide receiver. Lost his rookie year to injury. I liked him better than I liked Emmanuel Sanders coming to the rookie year. We saw I meant Deebo Samuel coming into his rookie year. We saw what Deebo did last year. I think Jalen Hurd could have that same kind of impact for the 49ers. I think it'll take him a while, but the back half of the 2020 season, I think Jalen Hurd's going to be a beast. I really do. So I don't think they need a wide receiver. I'm glad the board very narrowly picked Diggs there. And then number 32, Super Bowl champions, the Kansas City Chiefs. They take cornerback Jeff Gladney out of TCU. Now, if I were the Chiefs, again, I'm thinking about the run game. That was the one kind of Achilles heel with you. That's very nitpicky because this offense was fantastic. Once I'm thinking D'Angelo, but once Damian Williams got healthy last year, of course, in the playoff run, he looked pretty good. But this team needs, I think, a little bit more interior offensive lineman depth. They've lost a couple of these guys in recent years in free agency. Ruiz, I think, would be fantastic. However, they take another cornerback. There's not a Redskins cornerback that they can fleece Washington with in a trade this year to add to that team. Although, is Norris going to go there? We'll see. Or Norman or whatever his name was and whatever it is. But anyway, the Kansas City Chiefs cornerback. I like offensive line a little bit. I say just keep going offense, build it. And if you're going to draft anything with Kansas City, my personal opinion is you draft the edge rushers or maybe the ball hawking safeties or something, because Kansas City is going to be ahead by so much. You're going to want people that can force turnovers and extend the lead. I don't know that cornerback is that guy, but again, if the board makes the decisions, they're the experts. I'm not. I'm just the guy facilitating the stuff. So thanks for watching. If you agree, disagree, please like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. Especially Giants fans and Seahawks fans, because I would really love to get more input from fans than I got, unfortunately, from the Reddit situation. But all the other boards were great. I appreciate their feedback and their support. And we're going to do another option soon. Also, if you're a team that wants to move up in the round, let me know. Because again, I need some feedback for that because I want to propose trades. So if you're a team in that second round or in that, late first round and you want to move up for a quarterback or another player, somebody like that, say, hey, I would be willing to trade up for this player or that player or something like that. I'd be very curious. And then I can implement it in the next round of mock draft that I do. So again, thanks for watching. We'll catch you on another episode soon. See you then.